Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's virtual happy hour. No liquor tonight, just an IBC root beer, but why not, right? I'm so excited everyone is here with me. If this is the very first time that you guys are coming and you'd like to chat, feel free to put comments in the chat box. Tiffany, if you want to go ahead and do that. If you guys are on Facebook, you can go ahead and just click chat.restream.io/FB. That'll allow you to be able for me to see your name. So let's make sure that we're live and we're good. I know that's always the tough part with going live in the beginning, making sure that everything is good to rock and roll. So awesome. This should be ready to rock and roll. So the way that virtual happy hours work, guys, is that you guys can absolutely feel free to post your questions here. Tiffany's going to be pulling them from other places such as Facebook, on YouTube. But if you would like to ask questions directly, you're welcome to ask them. And as always, if you're here live and you'd like to respond as I'm answering that question live, you're welcome. Hey, welcome from SC. Love it. Love it. Love South Carolina a lot. So here is our first question. Like I said, if you guys have questions and you want to ask, feel free. So Tiffany pulled a question from either Facebook or YouTube, and she said, how many packages do you have in a salon? Now, everyone is going to be different the way that they're going to have. Oh, come on up. Sorry, guys. Fire wants to come up. You coming? He does this thing where he's like, I'm like, come up. And he's like, oh, I don't know. So come on. He'll great. Oh, see, the second you're like, fine, don't do it. So for those of you guys that don't know, this is fire. So long story short, so whenever we have packages in a salon, I highly suggest that you guys have 3 packages or so with no more than 3 tiers of each of those packages. Welcome from Northern Oregon. Hey guys, welcome. So packages in general, I like to see you guys with no more than 3. And then for each of those packages, no more than 3 tiers of that. So no more than 9 options. You might be like, okay, why? What's the magic 9? First of all, things in 3s, I think, are A, magical, and B, I think that they're just easier for people to understand, right? Small, medium, large, right? Most places like that. Catherine Lewis said, I made it on time. Look at that. How exciting, right? Come on in. So I like to see you guys have no more than 3 packages and then 3 tiers per package. And Tiffany, feel free to add the next question as I'm answering this one. That way we can keep rocking and rolling, get as many questions answered today as we possibly can to help support you guys while we're here live. So the way I like to look at it is this, is that anything more than 9, we start getting really overcomplicated, gets really confusing. It's one of those situations where you guys end up having this situation where you end up being like, okay, what do I offer? How do I explain it? You should very, very quickly be able to pull from your head how much things cost. You'll also hear me talk about, the point system. That makes your packages really easy. I don't really love that a lot of you guys are choosing to do things along the lines of, sorry, too much getting too much attention. You're in my way, kitten. You guys make a lot of things overcomplicated. The more complicated you make it, the harder it is for clients to understand, for your employees to understand, and ultimately for you to understand. If I ask you, how much does XYZ cost? Each be able to go, boop, it costs this much, and this is what it includes. So Wingtip 80 says, hey, what's up? Pretty sure that's Erin. Good to see you guys. So Tiffany went ahead and she pulled another question from YouTube or Facebook. Like I said, guys, if you have a question that you want to ask me while we're live, this is a time for you guys to get some free coaching or have your questions answered live. So Tiffany has a question that she pulled from Facebook or from YouTube. And she says, what can I do to advertise? So as you guys know, with advertising, the first question I always have for you guys is, who is your soulmate client? When we're talking about soulmate clients, we're talking about the client that you just immediately connect to, right? I feel like when you talk about clients, it's not just somebody who has a pocketbook who's going to just give you money, right? You want to know, does this person align with what I want? Do they have the same values that I want? We forget that a lot of us are committing to grooming this pet for the next 10 or 15 years, right? Obviously, if people change their mind, etc. But I think if we treated our clients more like a relationship and built it longer, that we would be a lot happier. So the first question is, who is your soulmate client? Why does that matter? Because depending upon who that person is, it's going to depend upon where you advertise. For instance, different demographics, different age groups are going to be in different places. So I am not business-wise, I am on Instagram, but I don't spend any time on Instagram. For me, it's just I don't really understand it. I don't want to look at a bunch of pictures with no context. I want to see people. I want to see their families. I want to know what's going on in your life. That's way more important to me. Okay. So what happens with that, right? So Debbie has a question. We'll talk about that. So when I know who my soulmate client is, where are they going to be? Are they going to be online? Are they in social media? Right? Are they going to be in person? Right? How do they want to be communicated with? I think a lot of times we decide to do things that may have worked for other people. For instance, I hear a lot of people like, oh yeah, I did the door hangers, right? Like, oh, I put hangers all over the doors in the neighborhoods that I thought were going to be my soulmate clients. But then you have to ask yourself, would your soulmate client think that's tacky? Would they think that's really inappropriate? I would never, if I live in a fairly nice area. If I saw a company put a door hanger on my door, I would be like, they're so, they're not very green. And I would just find it really tacky and low rent. That said, if you ask my mother or my grandmother, who tend to be a little bit more, I tend to be a little bit more, I don't say bougie. I would say a little bit more particular. I would want them to know that they're speaking directly to me. So the way I like that, right, is that I want someone to either directly refer to me. Catherine Lewis says referrals are how I get a lot of my new clients. Absolutely. I want someone who is my soulmate client to refer me another soulmate client, or I want them to read my message and immediately connect to it, right? It's kind of like dating. I put on my profile a lot of things that are maybe not the most flattering, but it's going to help me go through a ton of people really quickly. If they don't like the fact that I'm a single mom, that's okay, but I'm not for you, right? I don't even have a website, all word of mouth. I have Facebook messages, that's it. One groomer want new employees, stop taking your clients after 6 months. Absolutely. Exactly. And honestly, with the groomer drought, with the fact that we need more groomers desperately, most of you guys are getting full. And that's where I love membership models so much, because again, it's a mutual commitment instead of you committing and not taking new clients, but there's nothing actually making them committed to you, right? I really like that about membership models, because again, if you close off your books, right, and you stop taking new clients, it's essentially like you're the kind of girlfriend that wants to get married, but you don't have the ring. So, and again, there's nothing wrong with that in our personal lives, but in our business, we want that mutual commitment. I don't want someone, right, who can push their 4-week appointment to 6 weeks and it doesn't affect them at all. I don't want someone who can skip a month, right? Or who can go away for a month or, whatever. It doesn't affect them at all. I want someone to be in a mutual situation where, for better, for worse, if, I want X amount of 4-week clients. So I'm going to go back to that question, Tiffany. I'm going to go ahead and answer this for Debbie. So thank you so much for your question, Debbie. So Debbie said, how do you get your membership down to less than about 9 packages? How do you name them? So different people are going to do different things. So I teach the membership model, which has 5 different ways of doing a membership. And you generally want to have 3 packages. Now, what happens to groomers is we have a zillion add-ons. We have a zillion things we offer, right? And we're not actually focusing on the core things that we do sell, right? And if you guys have ever gone to a hair salon that doesn't really know what they sell and how they sell it properly, it's a hot mess express. They don't know how to sell it. They don't know how to explain what they sell. It ends up being a situation where they're like, oh, well, you could do this or you could do that. And it would be this much. And you're like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming. So how do you get down to about 9 packages? Pick 3 core things. Now, for some of you guys, that's going to be 3 different tiers. Sorry, I got to itch my nose. That could be something like a bath, a bath with a tidy and then a haircut. You could do 3. Or you could do a bath with a haircut. Like I've seen some of my students do, they offer a bath. The next tier they offer, well, I should say the next package they offer is a bath with a haircut under 1/2 inch. So from a 10 to 1/2 inch. And then the third package would be 1/2 inch to 1 inch. That's another way to do 3. For some of you guys, it's going to be small, medium, large, and you're going to create a more tight package. And then from that small, medium, large, you're going to have 3 different tiers of whatever. So a lot of it really is just simplifying. A lot of you guys need to greatly simplify. You are offering way too many things. Think chocolate, strawberry, vanilla. 3 options. And then do you want it in a waffle cone, a sprinkle cone, or in a cup? Okay. Let me just catch up on our questions. So Debbie says, so does 3 packages mean just 3 prices? Not necessarily. Well, it can, yes and no. So I like you guys to have, again, right? So let's say, for instance, I have 3 packages. I have silver, gold, platinum. I have whatever you want to call your 3 packages. I don't suggest you call them things like small, medium, large. Generally speaking, we need to have a branded conversation about what is the best way for you to do them. A really safe one is silver, gold, platinum, because it creates a hierarchy without actually meaning anything, right? And that could be, your 3 packages. That could be bath, and then you could have bath silver, bath gold, bath platinum, right? Or you could have silver, gold, platinum, right? That is a bath. That is this. There's tons of different ways of doing it. And ideally, they would be simplified prices. A really easy example of that would be, let's say your bath price, again, you'd say your bath price starts at X, right? And then your 3 tiers would be different prices. So maybe my bath is 100, 150, 200, right? Now that can also be based on weeks. That could be 4, 6, 8 weeks. And then after that, it's a new groom or a consultation groom, right? And consultation groom could be separate where, let's say, your bath would be 4 weeks for this price, 6 weeks for this price, 8 weeks for this price. And then if you're over the 8 weeks, then it's a brand new customer and you have a consultation groom, which is totally different. So there's lots of ways of doing it. And this is where for you individually, you have to kind of take in the factors that you're considering and what you're struggling with and what's the most important. And I'm so sorry, guys. If you need to, I'm sure Tiffany can post it as well. For some of you guys in Facebook, if you don't sign up and let chat restream see your name, you won't be able to see your name. It's okay though. Now remember, I always want you guys to pick one. So a lot of times in the industry, we always say 4 to 8 weeks. Well, that's 100% longer, right? I want you to think about that. That's the difference between $100 and $200. It's a big range. So my goal for you guys is always to have everyone on a 4-week schedule. I personally believe it's the most important thing. I think it is absolutely the best thing for the dog, for the groomer, for the customer, for everyone. I think it is best for their physical, mental, and emotional health. That is where I would prefer it all to be. So whenever I see 8 weeks, I remind you that I think it's not as good for the pet. I don't think 6 weeks is good for the pet. It's also incredibly difficult for your business. For instance, if I only need 100 monthly clients, I need 150 6-week clients. That means I have to keep 50 more people happy. And then if I have 8-week clients, if I need 100 monthly appointments, that means I have at least 200 people instead of 100 monthly clients. So again, this is where as an industry, we need to take back our power. We need to make sure that these people, our clients are mutually committed to ourselves, right? Again, having someone come in every 4 weeks, I believe is what's best for us, best for the pet, best for everyone. So Tiffany pulled another question. One of your groomers have no shows. Do you still pay their commission? And what? Oh God, this is a complicated. So this is why I do not pay commission for multiple reasons. One, you still have to pay your commissioned out groomers a legal wage, which is this is a complicated. So we're actually teaching the pay masterclass. We're going to be teaching that in the Savvy Groomer membership. So we're going to be teaching that next month. So Q2 in May. It's a 6 weeks masterclass. We're going to teach you all about how to legally pay people, etc. So one of the biggest lies in our industry is that commission works. So for the most part, most of the industry is misclassified. If you're going to pay people commission, they either need to be commission non-exempt, which means that you have to pay them commission plus overtime. All right. And then overtime, depending upon your state, is either 1.5 times minimum. And in some states, overtime needs to be calculated based on their average commissioned out rate. So for the most part, we can't pay people legally commission without paying them overtime. So yes, paying them their percentage is tricky. Your issue becomes, do they have to be paid anyway? Yes. If they show up for a commission, let's say they are a commissioned employee, because for the most part, groomers cannot be straight commission, nor can they be salary, by the way. You still have to pay them. And so this is where I don't understand as an industry why we are making our lives significantly more complicated. On the very low end, these commissioned employees need to be making a minimum of 1.5 times minimum wage. You have to calculate that every single week to make sure. You need to keep an eye on all these hours anyway. And yes, they need to be paid overtime. So this is where people get into really bad trouble. If you mess around with minimum wage, with not legally paying your employees, you're asking for the IRS and the Labor Department to come after you. So be very, very careful, you guys. Hey, Nancy, welcome from PA. I actually love New Hope. It's a cute little town. If you guys haven't been there before, it's super, super cute. Oh, here we go. I think my mouse is dying. That would be my luck. There we go. Arizona and Iowa. Love it. Love it. I love that light bulb came on. You're welcome. I think my mouse just died. I'm not even joking you. That's okay. Thank God. What are you going to do? I feel like if my technology is just not my friend today, it just is what it is. This morning on Zoom, it didn't want to work. I'm like, all right, computer, we get it. Let me see if I can just select. Well, we'll figure this out. Here we go. I'll just turn it on. No. Oh my God. Ah. Okay. Work computer. What would you pay an online grooming trainee to bathe and in turn to finish their training? Oh God. So I'm sure, as you guys know, you have to legally at least pay someone. So okay. So there's a lot there. So you are not a school. So if you're going to pay someone who's a trainee and a quote unquote intern, unless if that school pays them as an intern, unless if you're doing something through the school and they're doing it legally, you have to pay them at least minimum wage. And that gets really tricky, right? So if you have an online grooming school trainee and they're going to bathe and they're going to finish their training with you, I would be very cautious. I don't know if that's really necessarily the best option for a lot of us. A lot of us are going to reinvest in these people. And my question is always with something like this is this someone that's then going to work for you, or is this someone you're going to pay to train and they're going to go off somewhere else? This is where, for example, in the pay master class and then later in the manage and hire master class, we talk about having roles and tiers. And you just talked about tiers. I love me some tiers. Love me some options. So with that, it's like, okay, how quickly do you expect them to learn certain things? What are these things that you want them to learn? And then what are you going to do with them? So in the pay master class, we talk about 3 main roles. We talk about the bather, the grooming assistant, and the groomer, right? And so if I hire a bather, we call that bather tier A, and I'm going to invest in them. Let's say I'm going to invest in them for 30 days. And in that 30 days, I need them to be able to confidently clip nails on a 2-point dog or a 1-point dog, depending upon the way I set up my business, right? And just so you guys know, if you've never done anything, a 1-point dog is a small, compliant dog. A 2-point dog I would probably say either a Chihuahua that's kind of a little bit of a jerk, but not super nasty. That to me is a 3-point dog. If you're tiny and you're going to eat me, you're at least a 3-point dog, or a like a 2-point dog might be an example of, for a bath dog. Let's be clear here on a bath dog. That might be a dog that is, I want to tentatively say a cocker spaniel or a cockapoo, but I mean like the nicest one you've ever met, like one of the Murphys, right? If you guys have ever seen like one of Jody Murphy's dogs, like one of those cocker spaniels, like lovely, and you're like, oh my God, now I get why people love cocker spaniels. So that's where I would be like, okay, I need you to be able to clip nails, clean ears, do all of that in this amount of time. And then you would test them. And if they don't pass it within 30 days, then it's time to let them go, right? To me, if in 90 days, if you cannot bathe, blow dry, and prep a dog in 30 minutes, right, and possibly even in 15 to 20, you're not going to be a good long-term investment, okay? So that's where you've kind of got to decide what your long-term plan is in your shop. And then what is finishing their training? Is that according to the school, or is that according to what you think they should be trained? And even then after that, what is the plan? What is the goal? Right? I think a lot of times we have a heart for teaching, but we don't actually have a plan to teach. And I love that. You guys, I mean, obviously here I am like teaching everyone, right? And that warms my heart, but I want to make sure that when you're investing in someone, it's someone that you should invest in. There's lots of people that are very interested in grooming, and then they actually get here and they're like, what the hell is this? Don't spend all that money. I know that there are grooming schools that they can do like a 3-day crash course. They can kind of tell you, yes, this is someone you should invest in. No, this isn't someone you can invest in. But if you're going to train and finish someone, You can't contract them that they have to work for you. You can't pay if they are a legal employee. And again, if that school, this is where you guys have heard me talk about Animal Behavior College. Do I love their program? No, I don't love their program. But I love the fact that they get some book knowledge, right? Maybe not my favorite book knowledge, but get some book knowledge. And then they get to come to work for me for 150 hours. And I get to decide, do I like this person? Do I trust this person? Is this person I would continue to invest in? And I think that's where it makes a lot of sense for the both of us. But would I pay someone minimum wage who just came out of grooming school? Sure, as long as I had a feeling that they were going to continue to work for me. But I would have in place this role, I have these expectations. This role, I have these expectations. I expect you to be here within this amount of days. And that's where, again, in pay, in manage and hire, we break all that down and we organize all that for you. I got to make my mouse work. So thank you, whoever said that, either on Facebook or YouTube. Again, we are live here for at least another half an hour. If you guys have questions and you want me to help coach you or answer them while I'm live, please feel free. This is our virtual happy hour. This is not a beer. It's an IBC root beer, but it's happy hour. It's good. All right. Thank you so much, Catherine Rook. The consultation groom is a game changer. You get new clients that are serious about you. Have the pets groom. 1000%. I freaking am obsessed with these. I love consultation grooms. Not only do you know if they're serious about you, it also sets a line in the sand. For those of you guys that don't know what a consultation groom is, any new client or any client over a certain amount of weeks must be treated as a new client. So I love this. If you guys want to have your pricing tiers at 4, 6, 8 weeks, remember our 3 options. And then anyone over 8 weeks is a new client. Alternatively, you can say if you're over 4 weeks, you're a new client. And they have to go back through, they have to reapply, and they have to pay a new person price. Because again, if my price is the same, if I come every 2 weeks, if I come every 4 weeks, if I come every 6 weeks or 12 weeks or twice a year, what's my incentive, right? So that's where I really want you to work on that. Hey, girl, great to see you here. I love everyone saying hi. Sorry, Tiffany. I know. I promise I'll keep up. I know my mouse is all messed up. I'm so sorry. I'm like, please, mouse, don't die on me. Tiffany said, should I offer multi-pet discounts? This is a great question because it's kind of complicated, right? So my first question, whenever people, and I should say customers, when clients ask us if we offer multi-pet discounts, I always ask the client why. The reason I ask the client why is because I want to know what they think is going to save me time. Now, I'm a big fan of an annual deal. Like I literally was going through, and I'm such a dork. I'm a budget dork. If you didn't know this, like I love me a budget. We literally have a personal finance on a leash, which is our groomer budget, your personal budget masterclass. I'm obsessed. I love it so much. You have no idea. Big fan. So I literally go, so I called all my people on my budget and I asked them, do you offer an annual discount? And a lot of them said, no, why would we? I'm like, I just want to know. Same thing with military discounts or anything like that. I don't have a military discount. My ex-husband has a military discount, so he used to always ask if they have a military discount. And sometimes they do. So sometimes people are just throwing spaghetti at the wall. And for those guys that don't know that, some people, to tell if pasta's done, you throw spaghetti at the wall to see if it sticks. It's kind of an old wives' tale, but it does actually work. And it is really satisfying to watch. So I always ask them why. And it's important to ask them why. And I mean, in a kind way. And be like, I just want to know why you're asking. This is a great opportunity to educate people. Some people are like, oh, well, I assume it takes less time. And that's where you go, oh, I could totally see how you would see that. But actually, between Mitzi, Fluffy, and Fifi, weird names, but let's go with it. My feeling is that, each pet requires the time, care, attention that they require. And I'm not really about rushing them. So yes, they're all here. But because of that, right? I'm not going to take less time because they're here. When I was mobile, the only people that I would ever give a multi-pet discount to were the people that took an entire day. So if they had 4 or more pets, they were basically my entire day. And those people I might consider giving a discount. I had one household that had 6 Persians, and I basically gave her 6th one a bath for free. I'm not even gonna lie. Because I was like, you're literally paying for my entire day. And the last one was the cutest thing ever. And he was like a little 5-pound little chicken nugget. And he was just like all eyes. He just like boop. And I could. And that was it was a completely irrational decision. It was just I wanted to. And for me, I would rather give, I know it sounds weird. So I would rather have like I do 5, I give the 6th free, whatever the cheapest one is. Because then if that one dies and they don't get another one, I'm not losing any money. Versus I've had instances where I used to give like a percentage off of everyone. And then when one dies, then you've got to raise everyone's price. That doesn't feel good. So that's a really tough thing. And even with mobile, we also had, I will say, we also had when I was mobile, the policy was 48 hours, we charged 50%. At 24 hours, we charged 100%. And then anyone with more than 3 pets, it was a 7-day cancellation policy. So at 7 days, it was a half. And then at 3 days, so 72 hours, it was 100%. So it all worked out for everyone. But I don't think for the most part that multi-pet discounts really give us any benefit. It makes it harder to reschedule you if you have more than 2. It's a pain in the ass for me to reschedule, because if you have 3 to 5 dogs and you cancel, now I've got to find you a half a day or a whole day. Right now I have this giant hole that I have to call a bunch of people to fit in. So very rarely does it ever actually work out that they take less time, they take less money. If anything, you make more work for me. So that's why in general, I don't offer multi-pet discounts, nor do I suggest multi-pet discounts. I don't think for the most part, people who have multi-pets are generally speaking expecting multi-pet discounts. Again, if you want to do it, if not, that's fine too. Okay. Give me a look. I apologize. My mouse is being silly. Oh, thank you, Ruth. Ruth says, since working with you, River, in a year and a half, I increased my prices 100%. Thank you for giving me the tools to this. Oh, I'm so glad. And it's really important, too, to make sure that if you are increasing your prices, that you're doing it the right way. And I know Ruth has done it absolutely the right way. And I'm not saying that everyone shouldn't increase their prices. I'm just saying that when you do, you need to be making sure you're doing it the correct way. So Jenny says, easiest referral system. So, God, there's so many great ways. So again, there's different ways of doing it. Like one of my favorite ways, and again, this is kind of old fashioned, so take it with a grain of salt. I used to love at my shop, we had the cutest cards. I wish I might have some somewhere. I gotta look for them. And they would say, I love, let's say, River Salon, and you will too. Bring this card in for a $10 discount. And it would have the other pet's name. So let's say if, Jenny would put like Bailey, Bailey or whoever would obviously put their first and last name there, right? Like Bailey Smith or whatever, right? And then when that client would bring in, we'd give them a $10 discount. And again, this is assuming that you are not doing high end consultation groups. We were doing high volume. We ran a totally different business than my mobile did. But what I really loved about these cards was that I got $10 for that client. I would give $10 off to the other client, and everyone was really, really happy. And it gave enough incentive that that client would bring in the card, right? And it would be enough incentive that that other person would give them the card. Making people raving fans is all about creating a deep connection and allowing them to share. I will say it's really interesting the way that referrals kind of backfire. It really backfires on a lot of us that we're so good, we're hard to get into. And so people don't want to refer us. Good example, my eyelash girl, not the easiest to get into. So she's like, "Oh, I would really appreciate if you referred me." And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a pretty nice person, but I don't want to refer her because if I refer her, she's gonna get even busier. So why would I tell other people about her? Right? It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys in your area have like a beach. You don't want to tell all the tourists where the good beach is because then all the tourists go to the good beach. Right? You don't want to tell someone about like this really good, like hole in the wall restaurant that has like 5 seats, or like you don't want to tell people where like that really special thing is because then you're afraid it's going to get really popular and really busy. So I want you to think about for your soulmate client, what is it that they want? Now, if you're super high end, so for some of my clients, we have like a $300 consultation, initial consultation, right? And then their every 4-week room, let's say, is $100, or their every 4-week bath is $100. That person, I might suggest if the client comes twice, so if they refer someone, right, who's done the $300 consultation and then done that groom, so let's say 2 within 90 days, or whatever, that's something I've had coaching clients that we've said, okay, now give that person. So let's put it this way. Let's say Jenny referred River, right? And River brings in Fire. Fire comes in for her consultation groom at 300. And then within 60 days, whatever, Fire gets his second groom. After Fire's second groom, and River let me know that it was Jenny who referred Fire, I'm going to give Jenny whatever free. Again, if you have a very small niche business, so let's say all my grooms are 150, 200, and my consultations are 3, I would give that person a free groom. And I'll tell you why, because if their friend referred, I like this friend enough to rebook them. Because again, I'm in charge of rebooking people. I'm going to give a really big referral because that person's gonna be like, I love that so much. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to tell everyone because I want that so badly. We have to incentivize good behavior. And I think sometimes it sounds like very expensive. And you're like, oh my God, it's so much money. But again, that's assuming you actually want those referrals. The majority of us are going to onboard new clients using our website, our social media. And remember, in this instance, this person's getting $300 and they're getting anywhere between $100 to $200 within 60 days. And then, yeah, they would pay the other person. It's still cheaper than a social media manager. It's still cheaper than taking out a ton of Facebook ads. And it's incredibly directed. So I hope that helps. Michelle says tips for speeding up. So no one's going to like me here. I actually want to give you a tip for slowing down. So I think one of the worst things we can do with our physical body is, for better or for worse, is overdo it and go faster. I think it's really interesting. And I'm sure, Michelle, you're going to say the same thing. In the past 15 years of grooming, we have gone from an average of 8 to 10 dogs a day to about 5. The average groomer is expecting to do about 5. Instead of thinking about speeding, if you are not doing 5 dogs in 8 hours, or in bio, it's a 2-point dog, so it's like 5 Shih Tzus, 5 strip on the body, half inch on the body, 1 length all over, easy peasy lemon squeezy, and on the high end 8, then I would say get a rhythm down. Do everything the same. Do your nails first, do that, and really get a rhythm. Look at your space. Most of our spaces are way too big. It's so funny because my shop was like 600 square feet. We had 5 employees and we did 40 dogs. Like you guys with 1,200 square feet, with 2,000 square feet, you're doing a whole lot of steps. You're doing a whole lot of steps. It's a whole lot of wasted effort and place and time. Look at your products. Are your products appropriately? Are you doing the most appropriate haircut, bath, blow dry on the dog? And also another way to speed up is getting dogs done or cats done more often. If a dog is done every 4 weeks, you're just tidying up that haircut, right? You're not having to redo a whole haircut. If I'm doing a haircut every 8+ weeks, I'm resetting the coat. I'm redoing everything. I'm pulling 2 months worth of coat out of a dog. That dog's not going to be as happy because it's not going to be as used to the process, right? A dog groomed every 4 weeks is groomed 12 to 13 times a year. A dog groomed every 8 is only there 6 times. It's huge, right? When you think about that, right? And when I think of this way, in 10 years, a dog who's groomed every 8 weeks is only groomed 60 times compared to a dog groomed every 4 weeks is groomed 120 to 130 times in 10 years. That is massive, 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 massive. So be kind to yourself, take good care of yourself and consider, can I instead charge more money for that groom? Can I instead bring people in more often so that the pets are cleaner and easier using less product, less wear and tear on myself, on the dog, etc. I think the age of go, 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 go is at an end. I think the shops that still run that way are realizing it doesn't work, are realizing pushing people to their breaking point just doesn't work anymore. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. Be very clear. I'm not saying that's what you're doing at all, but I think that we want to honor our organic machine. And I think so many of us were taught that the only way as a groomer we are worthy is how productive we are. And I want to stop you guys from feeling that way. So not a pick on you at all. Please don't. My fear for you is that, and I want to thank you so much for being an opportunity for me to bring that up, because I don't often get to do this. I don't get to often remind us, because I do think this is the majority of the industry's mindset. Like, we are just a cog in the wheel. And I don't think that that's our role. I think our role is, to be a partner, a long-term partner in people's pets and health. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to kind of go on my little soapbox. Facebook. I really love this 8 weeks or more new client. Absolutely. If you haven't been here, in 2 months, you're a new client. No problem. And that also sets a line in the sand. And that means my clients are 8 weeks or less. And it doesn't even have to be yes, it's a price point, but it's a price point because you're a new client. I have to onboard you with consultation. And they'd be like, oh no, I'm a regular client, or oh no, I am a client. Be like, oh no, anyone who hasn't been booked in over 8 weeks is a new client. I can't read it. Hang on. I am planning to decrease the number of grooms per week in order to free up more time to enjoy my life. Love it. Instead of price increase to weed out clients, enforcing a minimum week rotation, etc., I'm better off just fire the clients I no longer want to deal with to start. So I will say this. The way I generally go through this with students is I say, print out your client list and highlight. So pick one color for your soulmate client. You're like, I love them. They have the perfect dog that I want to groom with the perfect haircut I want to groom, and they're happy to pay my price. Your soulmate client's one color. Ideal client is somebody who's almost perfect with something weird. The joke is like, he's like the best guy ever, but he's 5'2". I'm 5'1", 5'2". I'm 5'1", but I always lie and say I'm 5'2", so I can't even start. For me, that's not an issue, but like for somebody else, they're like, I want a guy who's at least 6 foot, right? So that's the joke. But whatever it is for you, right? So let's say, I love the owner, I love the dog, I love the haircut, but she's on a 6-week schedule. Highlight those. And then highlight the clients that you see that are these, like what we call fling clients. They're just these clients that aren't the right client. And for whatever reason, you just kind of let them hang out. So I want you to consider those. And then I want you to see what color your client list is mostly. That's where I would start. Let's say, your favorite clients are blue, your middle clients are green, and then your bad clients are pink. I don't know why I picked pink. Just go with it. So if your client list is mostly pink, we got to talk. That means that you're better off doing, first and foremost, your pricing structure. And I personally believe that things like a membership model are a really effective way to set really strong boundaries and, increase your price. And then also have invitation only. If you want to create exclusivity, if you want to have a situation where like, hey, I only have this many spots, sign up or don't sign up, that's fine. You can have a non-member price, right? So there's so much involved there. But that's one of my favorite ways of doing it. If not, what ends up happening sometimes is that, again, like you're saying, enforce a minimum week rotation. It's almost always easier to have something other than like, I'm saying that no more than 6 weeks, because people are not going to listen to that, for better or for worse. It's like the speed limit, okay? Like, it's really hard to enforce the speed limit, especially when someone's only going 10 over. So what happens is someone will go, I require 4 weeks or less. Someone says, not a problem, I'll book for 4 weeks. And they're like, well, Fluffy's not ready. So now it's 4.5 weeks and it's 5 weeks. And this time it's 6 weeks, right? So by doing it by price or by doing it by membership, you're creating this dynamic. So what ends up happening is you're like, oh, so let's say if I have a 4, 6, 8 week package and tier system. So if I have somebody at 4 weeks, and let's say for each easy math, it's 100, 150, 200. If you have someone at 4 weeks, this is so Fluffy's not ready. Be like, not a problem. I just want to remind you gently that it is 150 if it's over 4 weeks. I just want to make sure that you're aware of the price difference. If they're like, oh, well, it's just a few more days, be like, yep, but that's the way our pricing is structured. Anything over 4 weeks is the 150 price bracket, right? And then they're like, oh, well, then I'll push it to 8 weeks. No problem. Our 6 to 8 week package is $200. I just want to make sure that you're aware of the pricing. Oh, it's going to be over 8 weeks. Oh, I just want to let you know that would mean that you're bumped off our client list. Your spot would be available for somebody else. I really don't want that to happen to you. I just want to make sure you're aware of it, right? So basically now I'm putting it in their hands. And this is where you start seeing people either be very, very happy because they feel like they're making a choice, or people that, for better or for worse, are for the first time actually accountable for their actions. So I want you to really consider how you want that done. And again, there's so many different ways of doing that. Again, I know I'm really excited. I'm like, there's so many ways of doing it. Whenever you don't want to offer something to a specific client, it gets more complicated, right? Because what do you want to fire them over? How do you want to fire them? And if you if you get rid of, let's say 10 to 20% of your clientele, and then you increase your price and then you lose another 30%, which depending upon what you're doing, I would say in the price increase masterclass, I would say an average of a 20% increase. And this is before COVID and before, we should do another poll. Tiffany, remind me, we should do another poll. Before COVID and before inflation, people did an average of 20% increase and they would lose about 30% of their clientele. Now we're seeing people doing 100%, some people even 200% increase, and they're only losing about 20 to 30% of their clientele. So sometimes the price increase is just not enough to lose those people. Catherine said, I would love ideas on how to show gratitude to our soulmate clients. So actually it's super easy. We're going to do a 2-hour class on, marketing and talking about relationships with our soulmate clients. But in the meantime, you want to find out how to actually, one of the quick, okay, so let's take a step back. How to show gratitude to your soulmate clients is going to greatly depend upon who they are and what they value. And then finding out what their love language is. You can always do fun things. For instance, like you could always like have a little couple of jars at the front of it, and have little hearts. And you can have, what is your love language, and have the little jars and have the little hearts, and they put them in there. And if they say not sure, have a QR code for them to take the quiz. A lot of us assume that they're gift giving and words of affirmation. I find that a lot. They're like, oh, I tell my clients how much I care for them and I appreciate them. And I'm like, okay, so that's words of affirmation. Or they're like, oh, I did these really cool gifts for Christmas. I'm like, okay, so that's gift giving. Personally, I am like 99.9% acts of service. So what makes me feel appreciated is when people take things off of my plate. So if you guys notice, I try very hard to teach you guys all 5 love languages and how to do that. In physical touch, obviously do not touch your clients, or at least not touch the clients that you don't know if you have permission to touch the clients. But you can physically touch their pet. Make sure you show affection. If it's a cat and you can't obviously pull the cat out like at the checkout counter, show them you holding the pet, show them loving on that pet, right? you know Lots of different ways of doing that. I would just look at all 5 love languages. So for physical touch, pet their pet. Show them that you physically care about their pet, which sounds weird, but it's true. Yeah, don't touch the clients, but totally dogs. Yeah, it's true, right? I mean, listen, some people, there's gonna be someone like, well, River told me to hug my clients and pet my clients. I'm like, no, the 4-legged ones, you know. But it's true. Like with Fire, my cat, my Persian, who's making my leg fall asleep right now. When we went to a cat exclusive vet, they gushed over him. Right. So some of our selfies with them are great. Absolutely. It's the connection. It's the physical connection as well as the verbal connection. Those words of affirmation, physical touch. I got to do my numbers. I max the service. So what can you do to take off of my shoulders? Hey, that can be rescheduling them, giving them an automatic, standing appointment. Letting them know, say, hey, I noticed this. I just took care of it for you. No problem. Also, anything that makes my life easier. For instance, I love me a membership. You know why? Because it's automatically charged. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to do anything. Done. Perfect. One thing off of my schedule, my shoulders. Okay. God. So physical touch. I gotta look these up. So see, this is how you know what my love languages are, because I'm really easy. I'm like, just do stuff for me. Just make my life easy. That's all I need. That's all I need for love. So words of affirmation, tell them how much you care for their pet, how much you appreciate them. Acts of service, take something off their plate. Gifts, right? We do this all the time. Little things like I mean, one of the best things I've ever seen is, again, if you're going to take that selfie with that pet, get yourself one of those cheap little printers, from the photo printers, and print out a photo of you holding this dog. Be like, listen, I took this photo and I just thought it was so sweet. I just wanted to give this to you. Nothing they expect, I just want to give this to you, right? Or one other thing we used to do for new clients is that we used to write a handwritten note. We used to write like in a card. And we used to take a picture of the pet afterwards, either us holding the pet, or if the pet was not cool with us holding it on the table all nice and clean. And so we would send them a handwritten card. And yeah, we did it for every freaking client. Absolutely. It's why consultation grooms are so important, with the photo. And they would get in the mail. And it was just so sweet, right? It's just something really connecting and really personal. I think it's really nice. The other thing you do is quality time. I think so often, this is why I love office hours, because if I can just sit there and pay attention to you and be present with you, it makes all the difference, right? Like, I am super ADD, and here I am with you guys, paying attention to you the best I can, because God knows that your girl is not the best at this, right? And being present with them. I think when we are present with them when they're in front of us and ignore the phone, and then when we have specific office hours where we make sure that time is purely for them and you can focus on them and pay attention to what you're talking to them, right? Whether they're in front of you or whether on the phone, you're not dividing your time, right? And again, that requires us to have healthy boundaries, which some of you guys do, some of you guys don't. It's all a work in progress. But that's going to really elevate your business, because again, if you make me feel really good, I'm going to stay. If you think about if you think about Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A is a great example. And we're going to say really quick, for better or for worse, I have to shut my mouse off. It's not working. For Chick-fil-A, whether you love Chick-fil-A, whether you hate Chick-fil-A, one thing they do really well is they elevate the fast food experience. Is the chicken much better? I mean, it's not like magic. I mean, it's delicious, but it's not it's not amazing. But what it is that you have nice, polite people who treat you with dignity and respect, who do the best they can, right? I've never had a negative experience at Chick-fil-A. Never. And if I have, like one time I had, like the chicken was obviously breaded way too like bad spicy. And they comped my entire meal. It was mine and my kids' meal. They comped the entire meal. I'm sure they don't always do that. I think they, I was pretty sad. I wasn't even mad. I drove 30 minutes. My chicken sandwich is just too damn spicy. I can't even eat it. They asked if I wanted delivery, if I wanted delivered. I said, no, it's going to take too long. I'm just going to eat something here. And they said, you know what? Let us take care of this. We're going to just hand you your money back. I'm not saying that you guys should do that. Do not misunderstand. But it's a fast food joint, right? And you have a good experience. If you guys go into Tiffany's versus Kay's jeweler, it's a different experience. How can you make your grooming salon a different experience? And I think that is how we elevate ourselves. And that's how we make ourselves stand out. And check if there's any more questions. And then we are done for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Tiffany had one more question she saw. Need advice on a seizure policy. Should I have them sign some sort of liability release? Should I have something from the vet saying they've seen the vet regarding the issue? Should I refer out to the vet? Oh, guys, this is complicated. All right, I'm going to give you the very short answer because I really could honestly talk about this for an entire hour. So first things first, you need to decide if you are okay, right? Are you okay grooming this pet? Do you feel safe grooming this pet? Does your business feel safe grooming this pet? First things first. The next thing we need to ask is, what is going on with your insurance? Some insurances, once you know there's an issue or once there's been an incident at your shop, they need certain things. So first thing I would honestly do is I would call your insurance company and say, listen, I had a pet come in. They had a seizure. What is my liability, or what is your policy? Does your insurance company require some sort of release? Do they have a copy of that release that they want you to have signed? Are there certain trainings they will suggest to you? Like, what is it that they're going to do first? The reason I ask about them first before everything else is because I can give you all the things and advice. And if something happens and your insurance denies you, that's going to suck. So first things first, call your insurance company. Say, listen, this is what happened. The dog's fine. Everything's fine. I just need to know for next time. I just want to know. And they would say, once you've had an incident at a shop, you can't take the pet again. That's one option for some insurance companies. Some are going to say, you need to have this liability. This is what needs to be in it. So personally, and again, this is really tough. There's a big difference between a new client who has some sort of medical issue, and then there's an issue with a client who has been my client for years, and then they have a medical issue as they come down. And I'll tell you why. For a couple of reasons. One, if I have a new client who has some sort of medical issue, I just really believe they need to be at a vet, or they need to be somewhere with someone who either was a vet tech or has more medical training. Owners are not always the most honest with us, for better or worse. And unfortunately, you don't know if they were kicked out of another groomer for having a major medical issue, right? They could have gone to another groomer, had a grand mal seizure, let's say, and now they're coming to a new groomer, right? Personally, I think what's tough as groomers is we live in the gray, like a really strong gray area. On one side, the veterinary community is saying, you are not vets, you are not vet techs, you cannot diagnose, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. On the flip side, they go, well, why don't you just groom dogs that have all these medical conditions and underlying issues and la, 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 la. It's like, okay, vet community, which one would you like us to do? So personally, I don't think new clients with a medical history or issues, I would not take them on. I don't suggest my clients take them on. Why? Because for the most part, We don't have the medical training. Most of us are not trained what to do in the situation of a medical emergency. Now, I know some of you guys are like, well, I took pet first aid last year at a trade show. Oh, goody. You had one day of training that hopefully you remember. That's not enough, y'all. It's better than nothing. Better than nothing? Absolutely. But that's not like, most of you guys are not. Now, there's going to be some person that's like, no, I have a photographic memory. I remember everything. Listen, I am bad with names and I am bad with faces. I'm the worst at that. I could literally be talking to someone, have them say my name, have them say their name, and I won't remember them in 2 minutes. I'll remember everything we said in that conversation, but I will not remember the name of their face. The majority of us is that way with training or with things, right? I think way too often, right? We act like we're going to remember this. And then when we don't, right? When we don't, you don't want to be in that position. So I'm just going to say that because I think a lot of us pretend like we took one class one time a year ago and now we are prepared for medical emergency. You are more prepared than having nothing. But, again, the majority of us are just not. You wouldn't want someone taking care, let's say for shits and giggles, right? If you had a child with a medical condition of a seizure disorder or some sort of other physical ailment, right? Or an elderly family member with a physical, like seizures, etc. You wouldn't just hand them to a babysitter or a caretaker who took a one-day seminar once a year. You would want someone with more extensive training. So that's what I will say about that. And then as far as legality, it gets gray because sometimes when you have someone sign a waiver, you are admitting that it's a problem and it's a problem, but you're going to do it anyway. It's like the beware of dog sign, right? Beware of dog sign says, hey, I know this dog might bite someone, so I'm telling you. So guess what happens? That actually makes you more liable. So I personally think when in doubt, refer to a vet. I understand vets hate that, but guess what? For veterinarians, until there is something in between a vet office groomer and a pet groomer, until there's something in between us, some sort of middle class, right? It is what it is. I think that we have to be careful. We can't even diagnose an ear infection legally, right? In most of the US, you can't give a pet like teeth scaling or teeth irrigation of any kind legally. You can't even give a pet massage in a lot of states. And you want me to be responsible for a pet with a heart condition or a seizure disorder? It doesn't make any sense. And we are in such a shortage. Groom a healthy dog. Now, really quickly before we go, that is very different than you've been grooming this pet since it was 8 weeks. The owner and you have a very healthy relationship. This pet knows you. This pet trusts you. And as they've gotten elderly or has taken an unfortunate turn at 5 or 6, right? And you've been grooming this pet every month, right? Again, every month is 12 times a year, right? Let's say the pet's 10. You've seen this dog or cat 120 times. Then that's a different conversation, right? It's a totally different conversation. So guys, I really appreciate you all being here. It's always so much fun. I just have an absolute blast. So, I do. I always have so much fun with you guys. And I'm hoping that if you guys want to check me out, feel free to visit me at savvygroomer.com. This is my website. You can check me out there. You are probably watching this either in, someone said, thank you for your comments, Riverly. I'm going to start with highlighting my client list. Can I contact you about which of your services would be best matched for me? Absolutely, guys. If you guys want to know more about what's best for you, you can always message me on Facebook, either personally at Riverly or in my business side, which is the Savvy Groomer. Either way is fine. We do offer a bunch of different things. Oh, of course, Ingrid. Actually, let me be lazy and just show you on the website, because not for nothing. Those of you guys that need to go. Any of you guys want to stick around, more than happy to show you what's up. Oh God, how do I do this? You ever feel like, I swear to God, some days, oh, jeepers creepers. Oh, share screen. Okay, let me do this. Hold that phone. I know my mouse is dying. I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a hot mess express. It's not like in a Jennifer Lawrence way either. Not in a like, oh, I'm such a mess. I'm like, no, like your girl's a mess. It's all good. Like it is what it is. There's my website. Ta-da. Yeah. So this is my website. If you haven't seen it, ta-da. So you can go under, first of all, I have tons of free resources for those of you guys that haven't already checked it out. I have so many. Oh, hang on. Can you see? David, can you let me know if you can see? I don't know if they can see. It's saying you can see it, but I don't know if you can see it. You know what? Let me. I'm going to open up on YouTube. Oh my goodness. What does it look like on YouTube? I don't know. What? Nope. Ha. I'm going to hit share. Oh, I see. My bad. See, this is why. It is. This is IBC. I wish it was real. So my website, you've seen it. It's all pretty. It's all good. And then if you go into workshop or master classes, we have our Excelled Path membership. So this is our group mentoring. So once a week, we go live in a group coaching call and you get to talk there. Q2, these are the live classes that are going to be included. So these are classes that we're going to be teaching. We're going to be teaching pricing and points in the month of April. We're going to be teaching the pay masterclass. So that's employee pay masterclass in the month of May. And then we're going to be teaching commission to hourly. So it is transferring groomers from commission to hourly. We're going to be teaching that in June. And then, of course, we have our master classes, the price increase masterclass. Now, if you are a member of the Savvy Groomer membership, which is the Savvy Groomer mentorship at that $350 a month, all of the master classes will be half off at $500 for self-study, or you can purchase them as a non-member for $1,000, whichever you prefer. We have the price increase masterclass, the membership model masterclass, the pay masterclass. If you're just looking to get your feet wet and you just want to watch a whole bunch of, 1 to 2 hour workshops, you can check out the business workshop library. Now, if you just want to like watch 1 or 2 for $50 for 1 month, sign up. Obviously, it auto renews, so make sure that you're getting this done. And then at $197, you get the entire year. Remember, these are auto renewing, so make sure if you don't want them to auto renew, you cancel them. If you guys are looking for a one-on-one for a non-member, it is going to be $400 for an hour for a consult. Or you guys can always do a VIP day. That is 4 hours where we can do a deep dive into one topic. And that is $1,600 for the day. So these are options. Like I said, free resources, guys. I have so much content. Come on into, Savvy Pet Pros on Facebook if you're not there. I have the Greedy Bitch podcast. Greedy Bitch podcast is normally like 11 to 25 minutes per podcast. We try to keep it really short, sweet, and simple. We have our blog. And in our blog, obviously we have all of these different, videos. And then, of course, we have our YouTube. So I need to link my YouTube. It's down here, though. We literally have hundreds of hours for free. We have 228 videos. So we have over 100 hours of free content and videos. So we really should make playlists. That's on our list of things to do. But you can watch older stuff. You can watch younger stuff. Some of our most popular videos here. whatever you guys want to do. But yeah, I hope that helps. Huzzah. Boop, boop. All right, guys. Oh, let me just read the comments really quick. I was on your live last month. I have surgery coming up on April 12th. So unfortunately, I didn't get the price increase applied yet, but I plan on doing a business revamp during my downtime using everything I've learned listening to your videos. Absolutely. I'd absolutely love for that. And again, if you guys don't have the money, that's okay. I have so much free stuff. I think that's what's so funny. Not funny, but my biggest thing is helping us grow the industry, being better as an industry, supporting each other, supporting our community. If you have the money, great. And if you don't, I have so much free content. It's more important that you help yourself and support each other. That said, can I give you guys free shit? I already do. So, no free coaching for y'all. I have to help those that pay for me. That is what it is. But that's why I offer the free monthly virtually happy hour. And I try to support you guys the best I can. All right, guys. So I really appreciate all of your time. I am going to leave and I will see you definitely next month for our virtual happy hour. And I might do some of my shows this month live. I haven't really decided yet. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. As always, guys, happy grooming.